Pension admin leaders. Sorry, I'm not there in person to be doing this, but that doesn't take away from any of the excitement over the next few minutes on what EdCert and I will be sharing with you. As you all know well, over the past few years, we've been actively soliciting feedback from you and your peers, both through the conference and through other channels. Where possible, we've done our best job to action some of this. And so let me give you a few examples. A couple of years ago, there were some requests to amend our service model for greater digital channel adoption. I think you know the model has been evolved over 8 years of being static to reflect that. A number of you have asked for client journeys and now see 4 of them embedded in our reporting. A number of you asked for an easier survey. We've cut back 1/3 of the service questions and we'll continue to cut back more on the cost side. And a number of you asked for a digital dashboard, and hopefully you were able to attend the demo this morning that Yvette and EdCert put on to show you what the new dashboard looks like. So in a nutshell, we've been pushing for change. And more than anything, we aspire to not only meet but exceed your expectations. And we hope that we continue to do that. And while we are feeling good about where we are, we think more is possible. And so today we want to unveil a bit of the future. We're calling it CEM Query. You'll hear me call it CEMQ for short. CEMQ is an AI-powered assistant that allows you to easily and quickly extract insights from your CEM materials. I mean, one of the pieces we've been hearing from you as well is, man, there's a lot of stuff. I wish I could find stuff easily. That's what this is. And so I'm excited to show you what we're thinking. I'm going to ask EdCert to fire up Q, and we'll give you a taste. So we envision Q being accessible directly from your CEM portal. Here we're just showing the screen you would land on. And I'll pause on it for just a moment to reinforce a couple things. The first is this is a private environment. It would be unique to each of you. It relies on ChatGPT, but we have built it flexibly to rely on different models as evolution continues in the LLM space. I also want to make it really clear, this is a private environment. No data in here is shared with any third party, let alone any other CEM client. It's exclusively for use for yourselves, and naturally, as CEM, we'll platform it and make sure we're available to help you with it should you need. Okay, so let me navigate this a little bit. Once you're in Q, what you will see on the left-hand side of your screen is a series of CEM knowledge bases, right? So you see the first one at the top there is pension admin, followed by CEM communities, etc. What you can do is you can choose from these knowledge bases and load them into your instance of Q. And so I'm going to ask EdCert now to choose this fund's pension admin report. We'll ask it to choose the service score calculations as well, so you have the methodology available. And then finally, all peer messages, and this is uploading from PIN. And so I'll get, EdCert, if you don't mind, all 3 of those. Thank you very much. And then we'll start to ask Q some questions as we envision, hopefully some of you or members of your team asking. So EdCert, let's start with, what is the name of my fund? Okay, so you can see Q was unable to return a name. And the reason for asking you this question is because this is a fictitious fund. So we actually haven't given it a name. And the purpose for asking you the first question is to make sure that you know it isn't an actual client. I will ask it though, what are the names of the plans in the peer group we're looking at? And as you can see here, we've got 16 peers loaded, but for the purposes of this demo as well, we've kept them as anonymized. In your report, you would be able to see the names. Now let's ask it some stuff where we'll get some real information back. So what was my total service score over the past couple of years, and how does it compare to peers? Okay. So what you see here is the total service score increased from 74 in 2017 to 79 in 2024. And you see the service scores provided here. And I'll just point out that there's a reference link at the bottom of it. Should EdStart open it, you can now go back and go into the reports to the specific page. And EdStart, maybe we show one. Perfect. And so now you have the ability to go into the report and see where the data was actually sourced from. EdStart, I'll ask you to close that and go back to the chat window. Okay. Let me now ask you, what was the reason for my lower cost? And there you go. Sourced from the report were the 4 reasons, which you can now distill again or go to the references of. And let me take this one step even further and go into the charting element of Q, right? And ask it to generate a chart showing the results from above. And that's it. I'll let you type that in a clearer way than I articulated it. Uh-oh. Let's try again. There we go. Hopefully this time it works. There you go. You could tear the code out if you need, or show the chart itself. And the intention over time is that we will load CEM standard chart formats so that when you're seeing charts like this, they match what you would see in a standard CEM report as well. I'm going to ask it a question that it shouldn't know the answer to, just to demonstrate the limits of its knowledge. So if you could ask Q, I think people know I like movies, who starred in the original Matrix? Right. It is not included in retrieved data. And this is an indication if you ask it anything outside of the knowledge bases, it won't be able to return. Let me ask it just a few more questions, and then we'll move on. I'm gonna ask it, Ezra, if you don't mind, what was my average call wait time in 2023 in terms of minutes and seconds? And there you go. And let's ask it to please take me to this page in my report. You could do it through the references, but we could also just ask. Okay. And there you go. Those are the pages on which you can see the results from above. My last 2 questions, the second last, is going to pertain to something we would find on PIN. So not something we would find in the report. Let's ask it, I have a few options here. What can you tell me that other funds are doing for fraud detection software and professional fraud training? And this now wouldn't have been included naturally in your pension min report, but would have been included in some messages on PIN. And as you can see, it's produced the answer and also references into static environments within PIN that you can then click on and get into. And yeah, Ezra, let's pick on whichever one you think is appropriate. And we'll go to the comments in the PIN environment. And now that way you can access, conversations in PIN that help you answer. Finally, let's ask it something completely whimsical. Q, is EdStart having a good day? And there you go. Also outside the scope of what was in the knowledge bases. That's right. Thanks. We can unshare Q, and let me just close the demo there. Okay. And so for those of you in the room, you might be asking why we're sharing this here. Well, you're the first group of CEM clients across our entire global and product base we're sharing this with. Why? Because many of our great innovations have come by virtue of working with this group, and we have a deep amount of trust with you, and you've shown a very, and on this side, appreciated ability to provide thoughtful feedback. And so to close today, I'd like to ask for a favor. If you could reflect on the demo, and please let us know if you would be open to being a beta tester. And what does that mean? So in September, we're going to have a version of Q ready for a handful of you to test. And so beta testing will run from September to December. It will require 1 to 2 hours per month. And we would ask you to try a number of new functions within Q, and then on a one-to-one call with myself or EdCert or members of our team, provide detailed feedback so that we can make sure it's working in an appropriate manner. The idea would be to launch Q to many clients next year. So we're looking for about 5 to 8 beta testers. If you are able and interested, please let EdCert know, ideally by the end of next week. And then we will then sort of choose from the list of people who come forward and try to get a representative group and go from there. Anyway, to close, look, this is super exciting for us, and hopefully super exciting for yourselves as well, right? We see this being the future of benchmarking insights, where we can load more and more data from our repositories into an environment where you can query and get very specific, detailed, actionable insights, and in formats that you could use internally, Word presentations, management presentations, and the like. We view this as a world in which you'll get much more out of your CEM subscription. And in doing so, we hope that it continues to improve value for your members and beneficiaries. And sir, thanks for the help. And to you in the room, sorry for not being there, but thank you for your continued partnership. And hopefully your time and effort beta testing, something we're very excited about in CEMQ.